Hi, my name is JoseA and I have been chosen to be the location manager for the upcoming action thriller. The best location for this production, according to my personal opinion, is the beautiful island and the beautiful paradise called the Philippines. Sit down and enjoy. It is time to fall in love with this paradise. Let's click on that link and enjoy 30 seconds. I consider it the best production spot ever. Now, it's time to know a little bit more about the beautiful island of the Philippines. The Philippines is a group of islands located in Southeast Asia, just in the middle of the Philippine and the South China Sea, at the east of Vietnam. It is a beautiful archipelago of over 7,000 islands that lie in approximately 500 miles. The land area is compared to the size of the state of Arizona. About 7% of the islands are larger than 1 square mile, and only one-third have names. All the islands are of volcanic origin. Isn't that amazing? So plenty of things to do and plenty of places to shoot. The capital of Philippines is Manila, the beautiful city of Manila. Definitely Manila will be a great spot to shoot most of the scenes of this upcoming action thriller. Manila is actually the most populated city in the entire country. Talking about people and population, the current population of Philippines is 102,487,103 people. It represents 1.37% of the total world's population, and it's the number 12th city in the world. 44.9 people live in the city, and the median age is 24.4 years. So it's a very young population. Now it's a good thing to talk about their weather. The weather in the Philippines is tropical marine. They have two seasons. The southwest monsoon, which represents the summer, and it's pretty much from May to October. The northeast monsoon, which is considered the winter, it's from November to April. The northeast monsoon is the period of rainfall activity concentrated in a 2 to 3 day period. So that means that in the northeast monsoon, the winter, days are beautiful, are shiny, and it barely rains, like the picture you have there, which it was taken at the Harry Pillow Gardens in Orlando, Florida, by the way. The southwest monsoon summer, it's the period where heavy rainfall happens. So what concerns me a little bit is the time of shooting of the movie. So we need to set up this action thriller to be shoot anytime between the summer. So that means that we have to be shooting between the months of May and October to prevent rainfalls, to prevent flooding, to prevent all the things that can happen, even tsunamis. Taking into consideration that the Philippines is a group of islands located in the middle of the sea, this might happen. The government structure of the Philippines is presidential republic. In that picture, you see the incoming president, Rodrigo Duterte. You might ask why the Philippines, they have Spanish last names, and some of the places in the Philippines, like Manila, it might sound like Spanish-speaking cities and Spanish-speaking locations. Actually, one of the main languages spoken in the Philippines, it's English. But the Philippines was a Spanish country a few years ago, and it then became part of the United States. And it was not until July 4th, 1971, when they gained their independence, and they're now an independent country. So it's a presidential republic. So what that means is that the president and the vice president, they get chosen in an election, public vote, and the one that wins is the one that gets the simple majority in votes. They're both elected in different ballots, so that's what represents a presidential republic. And nowadays, this is the incumbent president who took the office in July 2016. The economy in the Philippines has been growing nowadays. So 1 Philippine peso, which is the currency of the Philippines, equals to 21 cents a dollar. So 1 peso equals 21 cents, 21 US cents. So that's it's not very bad compared to other countries, but it's not as equal as the US dollar. According to the GDP, which was the slide it was before, but it went through very fast, the GDP for 2015 was $741 billion. All these amounts are in US dollars, okay? The real GDP growth is approximately 5.8%, which is really good because it's below 6. The GDP per capita, it's around $7,300, and all the amounts, as I said before, are in US dollars. According to this being said, there's an uneven wealth distribution. Why do I say this? The Filipinos' economy growth rate is the second largest in Asia behind China. But the wealth distribution is totally uneven, as I said before. Even though tourism is now considered an important contribution to the country's economy, some are poor and 26% of the population live in hunger, not making enough money to live. To give you a quick example, one driver can reasonably expect to make $12.16 per day. $12 per day. Is that enough for us here in the United States? I don't think so. While the richest made $166,000. So this represents pretty much $3,817 per month. So there's not equality. So 40%, more than 60% of the population is poor, and 40% of the population is rich. So there's not an even distribution of wealth. All the countries, they have problems with other countries, and they might consider them as enemies. Taking into consideration that the Philippines is located very close to China, China has tried to fight over Palawan Islands. I'm going to talk to you about Palawan Islands later, which is a part of the Filipino area, and it has been inhabited by 770,000 Filipinos by China fighting control over the island. This will definitely and eventually cause a violent military encounter over water. What about the labor force? The employment rate in the Philippines is not very low. Actually, it's really high. It's around 93.9%. The labor force is 63.6% and the unemployment rate is 6.1%. All this data is dated for April 2016. The inflation rate, it's not very high compared to that picture right there. If you see that picture, you might consider, oh wow, the inflation is so high that it's taking people all the way up to the clouds. But it's actually a very steady inflation, and it's remaining into 1.9%. It is actually in the same pace in 2 months, and it's below market expectations, which is very good. The government of the Philippines has been investing a lot of money, especially in infrastructure. That being said, they're spending a lot of money in buses and public transportation, and they're also spending a lot of money in seaports. The increase in infrastructure ensures the investment from the actual government of the past President Aquino, former President Aquino. Spending has grown significantly, investing in transportation by improving road transport. Projects are the Cebu Bus, Rapid Transit Metro, Metro Manila, as well as the investment of 2.6 billion pesos to improve seaports across the country. Pretty amazing. Now talking about exports. What is the top 5 products they export to other countries, especially to the United States? Actually, this is the top 5 exports from the Philippines to the United States. Number 1, electronic equipment. Number 2, machinery. Number 3, knit and crochet clothing. Number 4, animal vegetable oils. And number 5, medical and technical equipment. What about imports? Electronic equipment as well, food waste, animal fodder, cereals, machinery, aircraft, and spacecraft. Which is pretty amazing. Now talking about the beautiful Palawan Island. Palawan Island is the biggest island in the Philippines, and it's an hour and 20 minutes away from a flight taking the Manila International Airport. Drives you all the way to the Puerto Princesa Airport. It's 1 hour and 20 minutes. It's a beautiful paradise, and this will definitely be our second setting and our second shooting for our action thriller. Between Manila and the Palawan Islands, we'll definitely have the best locations. As I said before, it's a perfect location, 1 hour and 20 minutes away from the Manila's International Airport. I strongly recommend that the movie location should be Manila, the capital city, that represents the best contrast between history and modern culture, and the Palawan Island, due to its beautiful scenery. Palawan has been the world's best island in 2015, and it's the largest island and half desert. It has clear water and white sandy beaches. Puerto Princesa, it has a deep forest garden inn, which is the best resort for artists to stay. Production is ready to begin. In 3, 2, 1, action.